Jesus is the lighthouse. And from the rock was hid. And shone his light of love around me. And I really see just what it wasn't for the lighthouse. Turn your Bibles to Matthew 24. Pray for those that are on their way. We have several out today. Some are sick. Pray for them as well. The Lord will raise them up. I've been praying for people ever since this morning, and God has been touching their bodies. So we're grateful. Matthew's are full of virtue. And when I say that, that means that the Spirit of God is going to talk to someone. I feel a flowing virtue. Someone is seeking for a word. Precious God, in the name of Jesus, let the word of God go forth. Let it minister to our hearts and our minds, and let the Spirit of the Lord speak to us, that we may hear what the Spirit has to say to the church. Matthew chapter 24. I keep feeling that open virtue. Someone is seeking direction, anticipating, because this virtue is strong. And when it's this strong, that means that conversation, desire, or prayer have been made recently concerning certain situations. But I want to talk today about enduring until the end. He that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. By full of virtue. In your patience possess ye your souls. I feel a virtue. I'm saying something. Even in this day and time that we live in, we have to learn not to give up, not to quit. Too many times we turn back because of the obstacles that are in our way, the things that come against us. And then we mistaken sometimes the obstacles and the hindrances that come our way. Sometimes we mistaken it for God telling us that this is not the way. But that is not always true. When Jesus was baptized by John, the first thing the Spirit of God did was led him into the wilderness. I feel a virtue. The Lord is talking. To be tempted and tried of the devil. It is the will of God that you are tested. And you should want to be tried and tested in every phase of your life. And everyone that has something to do with you, you should want them also to be tried and tested by the course of life. Because it is through these things that our hearts are manifest. Through situations, through circumstances, through trials and tribulations, many times the unspoken words and the unspoken emotions of individuals come forth because they don't have time to think. They can only react. And when you react, you can only bring forth that which is in you, whether it be good or bad. I feel a virtue. The Holy Ghost is talking. The Bible says, Paul said to one church, he says, I heard that there's division amongst you, arguments and disagreements and divisions. And he said, I partly believe it. He said, because divisions must come. In doing so, then we can see who is approved and who is not. I feel such a strong virtue, being prophetic. I feel such a strong virtue. The virtue is the anointing in action. It is the anointing of God moving and revealing. Many times people can be anointed, but you don't feel that flow. But the anointing stays right where it is. But when the anointing begins to move, it becomes power, it becomes virtue. And Jesus said, who touched me? And they said, everybody touched you. But the woman with the issue of blood touched him. She was anticipating something. And Jesus said, no. Somebody touched me different than the other touch. He said, because I felt virtue leave my body. And I feel virtue leaving my body. God is talking to somebody. Your heart feels a strong virtue. The Lord is speaking. You got to understand, trouble must come. And even in your personal life, disagreements, arguments, friends, family members, job, church, when trouble comes, before you panic, open your eyes and open your ears. And watch how people respond. Then you can see who you can trust, who you can't trust. Then we know who is able and who is not able. Who the pillars are and who they're not. Who is faithful, who is unfaithful. Who has strength, who has weakness. When a man faints in the time of adversity, he's weak in strength. Then you can determine how strong you are, how weak you are, where you stand with God. So, amen, trouble must come. We must be tried. Nobody's just going to skip through the tulips and get away with life. Every soul born to live must be tested in the wilderness. It must be tried. Adam and Eve even came from the garden. The children of Israel had to run around the wilderness. Even the Christ went forth to the wilderness. And you too have to be tested and tried of God. Amen. So that, amen, God knows all things, but through our trials and tribulations, our hearts are manifested before us. In your patience, possess ye your souls. Attributes are important. The attributes of men, wisdom and knowledge, love, and the senses. In your wisdom, it can sidestep you from trouble. In your knowledge, you have the ability to know. In your senses, you may discern, taste, smell, hear. But in your patience is your soul. I'm full of virtue. In your patience is your soul. He that endures till the end. I almost made it. I hate to tell you that's not good enough. You have to endure. You have to go all the way through that trial. All the way through that situation. You have to fight and discern those emotions all the way through to the end to see where it is, where God is. In Matthew 24, verse 1, read, it says,
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these things are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Jesus was walking and talking with his disciples, and they went into the temple of King Herod, which was the third construction of the temple that Solomon built. And they told the Lord, look how beautiful this temple is. It took several years to restore it back to its beauty, thinking that Christ would marvel at the temple, the house of God. There's only one house of God, you do know. Right? There's no building anywhere that's the house of God. There's only one house of God. And it was destroyed in 70 AD. Church, say praise the Lord. Now you are the temple of the Holy Ghost. And we have to learn to follow the anointing. Jesus was about to put an end to temple worship because he was about to establish that they that worship God must worship God in spirit and in truth. We need to learn to follow the anointing. The temple was the center of Jewish worship. It was the place where the tabernacle had dwelled, the Ark of the Covenant in the presence of God. But when Jesus looked and said, there come a day when not one stone will be left in this building, and then he walked out, a lot of people would have stood there and scratched their heads, but the disciples learned, you follow the anointing.
Yes.
Anointing doesn't follow you, it accomplishes you, right? But you follow the anointing. Whichever way the Spirit of God goes, you go. And they followed the Christ. They wanted to know, what is it? And when shall the end of the age, end of this world be? The end of this generation. They tried to get Jesus to focus on materialistic things, but he didn't do that. He told them, listen, many false prophets shall arise in my name. But he said, first of all, take heed to yourself. In every situation in life, consider yourself. Consider I feel a virtue. Consider your own actions. Consider the words that come out of your mouth. Amen. Someone offends you, someone responds in the wrong way, that's understandable. But also take special heed to how you respond. The most important thing is, the first thing he told them was, you pay attention to yourself. So many of us walk around like we're so right. Like we got all the answers, but yet deep down inside, we're of all men most miserable.
Yes,
so many people can see everything in everybody, but you can't see yourself. So many people have the answers for you, but they never can come up with a prayer and answer for themselves. Take heed to yourself. I feel the virtue. Judge yourself before you're quick to judge anybody else. Jesus said, first of all, pay close attention to be sure you are walking and talking and standing like you should. And he says, because there shall be many false prophets that shall arise, there will be many things and spirits of deception that shall come forth, and they shall deceive many. In this life, we fight a lot of deception. In this life, we fight a lot of falsehood. Even in our inner circle, sometimes we find out that friends are not as they are. Amen. Many times we were deceived by familiar spirits and lying devils and seducing spirits. Many times we put trust in people, trust in churches, trust in ministries, only to find out that we have been deceived. You find out that there are some people that live for the purpose of deceiving others. This is the world that we live in. And many of us we have been wounded by the spirit of deception. He says that there will be wars and rumors of wars. And he said, but don't be troubled. These things must come to pass. And we're in the midst and probably about to fight another war now. There have been hundreds of wars and 2 world wars. And war, amen, is at every end, at every turn. He said nations shall rise against nations. There will be earthquakes and famines. In the last 10 years, earthquakes have increased. There has been at least 10 or 18 earthquakes over the 8-point spectrum. And not only that, we've had at least over 71 great earthquakes. Amen. There are 20 million people in 4 countries that are dying of starvation right now. And in every 1 out of 6 countries, there is a shortage of food. This is the world that we live in. This is the world that we live in. A world that's contaminated. A world that is on the verge of destruction. And Jesus said, but these are the beginning of sorrows. He said, listen, you shall be delivered up. And you shall be afflicted. You shall be hurt. You shall be bruised. You shall be misunderstood. And people shall kill you. Murders everywhere. Everybody's killing everyone. Murder on every hand. And maybe some of you have been angry enough that you could kill somebody if you weren't trying to do right. I feel the virtue. And yet, there are many ways that many of us are murderers. We just didn't have any carnal weapons, but we had the weapons of our tongue. The way we treat others, the things we have spoken to others. Amen. The deception and the treacherous moves we have made when people trusted us, we betrayed them. That's murder. He that shall endure to the end. Christ is describing all of this in this world. He said, they shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And he said, there will be persecution on those who try to live for God. I feel a virtue. When you really make up in your mind to live for God, things are going to come against you. Hindrance is going to come against you. Spirits will come against you. People will come against you. In my years of preaching, I many times have met young converts coming in, and they say, well, I have this friend that's very spiritual, very religious. And when I would talk to them, I found out that their friend didn't know much at all. As a matter of fact, they had a spirit of deception, but the young convert didn't know. And when the young convert received the gospel more perfectly, they found out that their friend wasn't such a friend. And many times, people are bruised in the church, thinking that I'm trying to live for God and everybody ought to be happy, only to find out that everybody's not always happy because you choose to do right. As a matter of fact, I feel a virtue. There are some people that love you in your right. I keep feeling the virtue. They appreciate your weakness because they feel that your weakness, amen, makes them look good. Your weakness increases their strength. That's a poor attitude. But you got some people, amen, that don't mind seeing you down because there are things in their life they have not yet overcome. And misery loves company. Anybody hear what I'm saying? So instead of encouraging you to go forth, they try to get you comfortable in sitting in the mess. Because they're sitting in there. I feel a virtue. I feel a virtue. Be careful who you receive counsel from. Be careful who you ask for wisdom. You better understand, if the food someone else is eating has not edified them, why do you want to eat it? Why do you want to eat it? Understand, ask God to help you to understand the voice of the Holy Spirit. You're looking for wisdom. You're leaning on people. The Holy Ghost is not going to give you critical wisdom that helps you to put down others or leaves you with a bitter feeling or a hard heart. That's not the Spirit of God. It's not going to leave you feeling a presence of vengeance or anger, like you want to strike back. That's not the wisdom of God. The wisdom of God is not going to leave you burdened and frustrated, because his yoke is easy and his burden is light. The wisdom of God is not going to leave you with a mind of confusion. He's not the author of confusion, but he's the author of peace. So in all your consultation and all your talking and all your seeking advice, you still scratching your head. It could be, somebody say, what could it be, Bishop? I'm glad you said that. It could be that you have not heard the wisdom of God. So you need to check your source. I feel a virtue. You need to check your source. I don't care who they are, how high they are. You're not trying to judge, amen, but you tell a tree by the fruit it bears. And because someone is older or even been in the church longer, that means they're always wiser. David said, I know more than the ancients. I know more than my elders. He said, because I keep your commandments and your concepts. No one is wiser than the word of God. I feel a virtue. Be careful to those that join themselves to you in the name of, let me help you. But they're draining you. You feel drained. And it seems like the situation is getting worse. But they come in the name of, I'm helping you. But their wisdom is not the wisdom from above. It is sensuous, earthly, devilish. This wisdom is not from above. You understand what I'm saying? Anybody that gives you wisdom that feeds your passions, sensuous, It's of the earth. But the wisdom from above is first. It has good fruit to it. It's without respect of person, without partiality. There's mercy in it. There's balance in it. And Jesus said that people will get so angry because you're trying to do right, they want to kill you. They want to hurt you. Anybody hearing me? You got some people that when you really try to do right, they get so jealous and so angry that they will try to stop you and even hurt you or wish your harm. This is what Christ is saying. This is true. I've been in, even in the church world, it happens because they that are born after the what? Flesh persecute those that are born after the what? And in the church arena, those who walk after the flesh, they will persecute those that walk after the spirit. Because if nobody told you, the flesh and the spirit does not agree. I feel a virtue. That's why so many times a lot of young ministries and people that are coming up in the Lord that are truly gifted of God, they find it troublesome. They are attacked. I feel a virtue. They're pushed to the side. They're put down. And they're trying to figure out why. It's because it could be sometimes that those that have been around see their potential. And instead of grooming and shaping and molding them, they take it personal because they're walking in the flesh. And those church so-called folks that are in the flesh, they attack those that are in the spirit. Because the flesh and the spirit does not agree. In the home, you say you're saved. Those in the home that walk after the spirit are attacked by those that walk after the flesh. Because the spirit and the flesh does not agree. Never does the spirit and the flesh agree. This is why, praise God, anytime a gospel is presented to you that involves you obtaining this world, amen, it ain't the gospel of Jesus Christ. Come out from among you, be ye separate, says the Lord. And he says, you shall be hated, and many shall be offended, and shall betray one another. You shall be betrayed, maybe you will betray somebody else. Many shall be offended, and people will begin to turn when you least expect it. This is what Christ is saying. We're living in a world whereby it's hard to find good, faithful people. And they shall hate one another. The best of friends become enemies. A talebearer will separate the chiefest of friends. I feel a virtue. I must be saying something, son. I feel a virtue. Somebody asked me, am I going to take this back? I'm not taking it back. Because I keep feeling a strong virtue that the Holy Ghost is talking. And the things that I'm saying, I said it once, I said it again, this virtue is so strong that it's fresh. Some of you have been thinking this, or you've had this conversation recently. Maybe last night, maybe on your way, maybe during the week, but I feel it so strong. What does that mean? That lets you know that God was listening. Amen. That lets you know that God heard and he was listening, because what do I know? Nothing. But if I feel a virtuous gang, my God, but it's a prophet of God. He'll keep nothing from his prophets. And so you in the right place, every last one of you, praise God, that are here today. You should be here because God is talking. You have to, God, purge my surroundings, purge my heart, purge my home, purge my friends, purge my loved ones, purge me. Lord, give me understanding, open my eyes that I may see clearly. I don't need to be deceived. Lord, I'm tired of making mistakes and walking in the same old cycle, and I don't want to play. I want to be real. I'm not trying to play super spiritual. Oh, stop walking around, folks. I've been around the church a long time. I wasn't born and raised, but I've been around a long time. People playing spiritual, prophet lying, and what God said, and it never came to pass. Quit fooling yourself. The Holy Ghost never lies. And the words of the true prophet never falls to the ground. You don't want to fake living saved. You want to be real in it. And what Christ is trying to say, that in the midst of a wicked world where there's betrayal, there is hatred, there is murder, there is deception, there is famine and wars and earthquakes and demonic possession everywhere. What about it, Jesus? He said, but yet, in spite of all of this, I am the God of all flesh, and I can sustain and hold you and keep you. So he said, I'm going to tell you, in the midst of all of this, he that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. You can make it. You can take it by my grace and by my power. You don't have to use the things in this world as an excuse not to go forward. You can do it in this world like it is. Like it is. People like they are. The pains you have endured and throughout. Through it all. Through it all. If you will, somebody repeat after me. Don't give up.
Give up.
Through it all. Don't give up. I feel the power of the Holy Ghost. The anointing of God is upon me. Don't give up in your patience, possessing your soul. We are more than conquerors through Christ Jesus. Let's get this up. Not there. Walk on, but I'm holding on. One new, but I'm holding on. I may not be able to quote another scripture, but I do know this. Who that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. I feel the virtue. Don't give up. I don't care what you've been through. Bad relationships, bad this, bad that, bad you. Don't give up. It ain't over yet. He that endures to the end, the same shall be saved. Well, I tried church, but you know, they did this, and the scripture says many false prophets shall arise and will mess you up. Yes, it's true. Everybody that comes in the name of Jesus ain't walking with him. Yes, it's true. You get out there in the world and get messed up. Get out there in the religious world and get messed up. Yes, it's true. But he that endures to the end, he still expects you to hold on. Don't ever mistake the foolishness of men for the wisdom and actions of God. That's right. Being a Christian means Christ-like. Anybody that's acting foolish, you know good and well that ain't God. You know good and well, they supposed to be Christian. The word is supposed to be. Excuse my abundance. You understand? You got a lot of people that fill buildings, but they're not part of the church. Because them that are part of the church realize that they are the church. They are the temple, the real temple of the real God. And you have an obligation as to how you present yourself. Look at James. Let's close out. James puts it like this. James chapter 5, how full of virtue. Let me tell you something. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the angry God. You don't want to play God. You don't want to play with God. Amen. You see, it's not for us to be critiquing and for us to critique and judge God, but it's for him to judge us. Because at any given time, the Lord can remove his hand. Church, say, praise the Lord. Because no flesh will glory in his presence. I feel the virtue. And you never know, praise God. You better be careful because the day could come when God says, your days are numbered. You looking at me, then God says, now I'm looking at you. To see if we can walk together. Quickly, read James chapter 1. Read quickly.
Go.
5 verse 1.
Go to now.
Let's see how James put it.
Ye rich men, weep and howl for your for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your field, which is of you, kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth, and had long patience for it, until he receiveth the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, unless ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience. Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy.
A lot of you never know that because you never endure till the end. Amen. James says, listen, don't get caught up in this world, but be patient. How long, James? Until the coming of the Lord, until you close your eyes. You hold on and you be patient. Amen. Because the Lord draws nigh. How do you know if you run out of patience? You begin to murmur, you begin to fight, you begin to grudge, you begin to live happily in this life because your patience is running thin. You ever waited on somebody and you waited, but when you thought they weren't going to come, your patience gave up, you got up and you said, forget about it, took your clothes back off and went to do what you want to do. And if they ever showed up, you said, I thought you wasn't coming. Amen. I feel a virtue. Well, that's what a lot of church folk live like. You live like he ain't coming. You done took your clothes off. You done put down your spirituality. You begin to get caught up in the cares of this life. Amen. And it was through the cares of this life that the people of Noah didn't see the rain coming. Yeah, I feel a virtue. You understand what I'm saying? And you're wondering, God, where were you? God, where were you? God said, I was on my way, but you gave up and you lost your patience. And with patience comes doubt. With doubt, it's impossible to please God. God said, I was coming by, but when I saw you left your patience, you gave up your soul. There's strength in patience. Patience brings about a lot of other attributes. Patience helps you to be cautious. Patience gives you time to observe and to discern. It helps you to reason. The trying of your faith brings you patience, and the trying of your patience brings you experience. Because you waited to see the end of the Lord and you know what he can do. So when something else comes upon you, your patience kicks in and you hold your soul from the experience of other things you have been through. That experience gives you hope. Be patient. Let your heart be established with patience. Trusting in God. Let's close out with this. And he said, listen, remember the brother and the prophets, how the things that they suffered, the afflictions and the patience, and how they were counted blessed to those that what? Endure. When you endure and come through, don't you know that's a shouting glory day that day? When that burden lifts and realized you didn't let God down, but you took it and you came through it, and the more you stood, the clearer it became, and you saw that God was with you, or he brought you out. That was a very happy day that day. You could rejoice. But when you give in, and then you see that maybe God was about to do something, and you give in, that's a painful experience to those that love God. I feel a virtue because you feel as though you're letting him down. And sometimes you might have said, God, if you just try me with that thing one more time, I'm going to do it this time. And you do. Happy are those that endure. Blessed are those that hold out to the end. He gave an example. Look at Job and what Job went through. Yes, sometimes it's good to look at not anybody, but those who you know how to fight the good fight of faith. It's good to learn from examples of them that have trusted in God, and then you apply that same faith according to your ability. Amen? And Paul says it like this in 2 Timothy 4. We're going to end it with Apostle Paul. Life is full of troubles. Life is full of ups and downs. And Christ knows this. But the grace of God teaches us that in this present world, we can still live a life of holiness, a life of righteousness. In this present world, Christ is telling us, all these things shall come to pass, but in spite of all these things, I expect you to endure until the end. Paul was saying in 2 Timothy 1, he said, I charge you therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead, that is appearance and his kingdom. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. The time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall return to fables. But watch thou in all things, and do afflictions. Do the work of an evangelist. Make full proof of your ministry. Paul said, listen, the time will come when people don't want to hear the truth. They're going to heap to themselves preachers that's going to preach to them what they want to hear. Scratching their ears. Make full proof of your life and of your ministry. Then this is what he said. For I am now ready to be offered. And the time of my departure is at hand. Paul was a Pharisee of Pharisees. Had a good career here. He led the persecution against the church. He was converted on his way to Damascus, and he met Jesus in a personal way. Was filled with the Holy Ghost, baptized in his name. A messenger of Satan was given to him to buffet him in the flesh, to beat him back and blue. That's why he was beaten the way he went to. He prayed 3 times, and God told him, my grace is sufficient. So he learned to rejoice in the time of affliction. He was in shipwrecks, with robbers, in pearls, left for dead several times, in the depths of the ocean, without food, without clothing. He was beat everywhere he went, and yet he said he gloried in his afflictions and his infirmities. He learned to be content with such things as he had, and he trusted in God. His life, we read about, he wrote half the New Testament. We read about the power of glorious things of Paul, but how many people can endure the things he endured and keep the same attitude he kept? But this is what he said. Because he knew that he that endured to the end shall be saved. After going through all of this, including losing his life, he said, I fought a good fight for you. He said, and guess what? Through all the beatings, through all the deceptions, and through all the betrayals, and through all the trials and ups and downs, he said, still with all the hindrance, I finished my course. Got no excuses to make. I finished by the power of God. I finished my course. He said, not only did I finish it, I didn't finish it any kind of way. Through all of the pains of life, I kept the faith.
Yes, Lord. Yes. Yes, Lord. Yes.
Maybe some of y'all ain't listening. I'm getting a little emotional now.
Yes. Yes, Lord.
I kept the faith.
Yes, Lord.
I didn't charge God foolishly.
Yes, Lord.
I didn't lose my integrity, as they said about Job. I kept the faith through all the ridicule, through all the betrayals and the pains and the misunderstandings and the ups and the downs. I finished my course. And I kept the faith. I finished it right. Didn't walk and stump on everybody, but I made sure my heart was right. Paul said, now hence therefore is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me
Yes, Lord.
in that day. And not to me only,
Come on.
but to them that love his appearance.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Somebody said, Bishop, what you gonna do? I'm glad you asked. I'm gonna finish my course.
Come on.
I'm gonna keep the faith. I'm gonna endure until the end. Because the Lord is with me. He said, I'll never leave nor forsake you. I won't allow you to suffer more than you can bear. But with every temptation, God said, I am faithful. I will give you a way out. Why you holding on? The temptation is great. Why you holding on? Because my faithful God promised sometime, somehow, somewhere to step in and give me a way out. I'm holding on until he steps in and gives me an escape that I may be able to bear it and give him the glory. Through all the pains and trials and tribulations of all those that have gone before God. I can see, if you don't mind me using my imagination, I can see the heavenly choir, Paul, Peter, Moses, the Hebrew brothers, Isaiah, Timothy, Titus, John. What all y'all have in common? Well, son, we're in the land of the living. But if we could sing a song as though we was on earth, we would sing something like this. Lord, oh, help me, oh, Lord, come on and help me. Is anybody not a saint? I'm not a saint of people's name. Lord, come on and help me. Oh, help me. Oh, I'm still my faith. Oh, until my change comes. I need you to help me to hold out. I tried everything and everybody else. Listen, the mountain seems so high. Need you to help me to hold out. I'm not ashamed of Jesus' name. God, forgive me for the patience that I need to hold.
Yes,
I'm singing in the spirit. I'm singing with the understanding. My Holy Ghost was saying, you know I need you nothing without you. I need you every day. I need you to give me the strength, Lord, to help me every day. I know that you are merciful. I know that you are God who can. I know you got all power in your hand. I know you always do that. I got the faith to praise you. I haven't done all things right, but I'm glorifying you and praising you, Lord, praising you with all of my might. I love you, Lord, and I need you. I need you, Lord, and I love you. I can do nothing without you. I need you to save me through. I want to say that I thank you, Lord.